Hey everyone, this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com, and I want to show you guys our Perspective mount adapter for the Livescope. That's the Garmin Livescope series here. I wanted to focus on this because they have changed their transducer. So this is the LVS 32 transducer here. This is what it looks like. I always say to my customers when we're trying to figure out which one they have sometimes, I always say, hey, it's the triangular shaped one. Okay, guys, that profile. If you have a triangular shaped Garmin Livescope transducer, that's the LVS 32 or the LVS 32, okay? And then they've gone to Lowrance Active Target. Actually, it's a similar looking beast or transducer. They've gone to a rectangular one, that's the LVS 34. And then they have the LVS 62, which is very, very large. Okay, so we're gonna go through this. So what happened was Garmin brought out, when they did the Livescope series, this is prior to the PS, like the Panoptic series, like they had just sort of square or rectangular shaped transducers, but they got more sophisticated, and hence you see this fancy looking transducer here that of course you can set at different angles and whatnot, so that you get your down, forward, and perspective mode is what Garmin calls that mode, perspective. So this is the LVS 32. Okay, this plate here, you can see here's the plate. It's got a notch in it because the reason why we did it and designed it that way is because you sometimes this would loosen off, unfortunately, and you have to get a tool when you're using this adapter on the end instead of, I got our cylinder adapter on the end here, our cylinder adapter, but this guy would be here instead, and you would want to get in when the transducer's mounted and with your Allen key and actually tighten it up. So we designed it that way so that could happen and not get in the way. You wouldn't have to take things apart and whatnot. So that's the LVS 32. That's what it looks like. Make sure you choose when you're buying our live sonar mounts, you know, for the Gen 3 as an example, when you're buying one of those, you tell us the correct transducer that you have, either the LVS 32, which is, I don't even think they're making them anymore, the LVS 34, this size of plate right there, and the LVS 62. They're not as fancy looking, but that's because Garmin has made their transducer mechanism much more fancy, or somewhat more fancy and more robust in terms of its clicking mechanism, rotational mechanism. So here you go. The LVS 32 plate right there, that's what that looks like. Then you get the LVS 34 plate, and you get the LVS 62 here. Okay, guys, like you see right here. Bing, bang, bang. Now, if you have one of these guys, you can convert over to one of these guys or these guys by buying this piece plus this piece is on our website. You can buy this assembled, or you can buy just the plate only. Okay, and the reason why we sell it that way is because we'd Loctite these guys in here, and if you have a hard time and you know getting this apart, just buy the whole piece. It's like in an L shape. You can buy either or, again, the plate or the L shaped piece here, and then stick it on, and that'll save you a few bucks, so that you can just upgrade from your LVS 32. If you went from an LVS 32 and you bought the new Livescope Plus, is another term for it, you can take it and boop, put it back on here, and now you've upgraded to the LVS 34 and then the LVS 62. And man, we have an awesome mounting system for this. If you guys are doing saltwater and you're using the LVS 62, we have a heavy duty mount system on our website now for those. So finally, this is our cylinder adapter. It is 3 inches. I believe it's Humminbird that has, so what you see here when you're looking at this is the rail clamp. You see, guys, this rail clamp. Let's look at it very closely, how it's split. That's provided by Garmin in their kit, okay? Garmin provides even the screws in the LVS 32, I think in the LVS 34. You're using some of Garmin's hardware. Don't lose your stuff in your box. Don't throw your box away. Keep everything together, because if you buy some of our stuff, you're gonna need some of their hardware, like the screws and stuff, to mesh together with our stuff. So keep everything that you get. If you end up wanting to get something aftermarket like what we do, you're gonna wanna get, or have those screws and everything in your box ready to change over to what, the situation, change over to whatever Livescope system you have. Now listen, there is this Livescope stuff from Garmin, Garmin Livescope, that's what we're dealing with right here, but there's also Humminbird and there's also Lowrance that are doing these live sonar. We call them live sonar as a generic term. They're making these live sonar products. And this is a catch-all. This does them all. Nowadays, Garmin, Lowrance, and Humminbird have a perspective mode or a landscape or a scout mode. That's the three terms that the different manufacturers use. And what it does is it takes your transducer and instead of it being just down or up, right, down or up or what have you, you can flip it on its side. You can flip this. I wish I had it set up for you guys. I don't have it like that right now. But you can take the transducer and flip it on its side so that now instead of the beam being tall, that's down and forward, tall and narrow, now it's wide and narrow, right guys? So that way in shallow water you can see a lot, and you're seeing I think it's with Garmin, it's 220 or 30 degrees like this. So you're seeing a lot of that shallow water, let's say it's 10 feet or less, you're seeing a lot of it without actually having to rotate the pole when you put it into perspective. In deep water, you're gonna wanna go with your down and forward modes in all of these products, and you're gonna scan, you're gonna be turning the mount like so. So with our so here's the LVS62 guy here, and you can buy them just like this from us, but you can also upgrade, as I've shown you guys before. If you end up buying their different transducers, you can take this guy and you can actually manipulate it to go into the down, and into this would be the forward mode, okay, forward and down mode. And when you want to go into perspective, this is the perspective mode. You can see that the transducer would be fit on like this, right? And then when you adjust it, it would be like this in down or in forward and down mode, okay guys? So these perspective mode adapters, they're very fancy. They're much nicer than the manufacturers make. You've got all these nice incremental 5-degree offset holes. So if you're really trying to dial in, you can actually take your little pin, your index pin, and just change to where you want it to be. It just clicks in nicely. It's just fantastic. Beautiful piece of artistry right there from fishfindermounts.com. Again, the cylinder adapter is a catch-all. They all have now, they provide you perspective capability built in. This is only for, these guys are only gonna work for Garmin. Don't buy these. Don't choose your perspective adapters if you've got a Lowrance or you've got a Humminbird product. Choose the cylinder, the non-perspective adapter right here. This is 1.25 inches in diameter. It emulates a typical trolling motor shaft so that it just fits around. As you can see right here, the gap is it's not very big. It just hugs around there perfectly. There's even a catch-all lip here so that your thing doesn't slide off just easily if you didn't really tighten it on there. Make sure you do tighten it on properly, but it's sort of a little bit of a fail-safe there for you guys. So this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com, and thanks for watching, everybody.